Hello, everybody, and welcome to today's Career Crush Q&A. I'm Emily Aries, the founder and CEO of Bossed Up, and it is my great pleasure to have Shavon Smith, our small business attorney based here in DC, joining us for today's Q&A. A couple of notes on the housekeeping front before we dive in. You can use the hashtag CareerCrush to keep in touch with us throughout the course of this conversation. You can also look up all of our past Career Crush conversations with that hashtag, or you can tweet directly at us today with my Twitter handle being at BossedUpORG or at Emily Aries, that's EMILIEARIES. And then you can also get in touch with Shavon at the SJS Law Firm. Did I get that right? Okay, great. So I've just muted you, Shavon, actually. Can you hit the little mic button? Because you were unmuted you before, but there's a little mic button at the top. Sorry. Let's see if I can unmute you.
I am unmuted.
Cool. Thank you so much for joining me.
Hello. I think I'm hearing. Are you hearing clicking? Are we good in sound wise?
I'm hearing good.
Okay, excellent. I'm excellent. Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
My pleasure. And Shavon is a sought-after speaker. She talks a lot about entrepreneurship, small business law, how to get your feet wet if you're considering the entrepreneurial path. And she's been in her own practice now, in your own firm for about 2.5 years after this bigger firm life here in DC, graduated from Howard Law School right here in Washington, DC, and practices law in Michigan, DC, and
Maryland. Yes.
So tell us, Shavon, how did you get into law? Like, why the law, and how lucky are we to have you as a lawyer?
Oh, thank you. That's very kind. So I went to Michigan State undergrad. I majored in political theory and international relations, mostly because I thought I just wanted a job that I can be international and travel. So, time came for graduation, and I just really knew I wasn't ready to work, that it was time for me to continue to go back to school a little bit more. And I contemplated a master's in international relations and law school. And the only reason I chose law school is that someone told me that, well, if you get a law degree, you can do anything. And I thought the ability to do anything sounds amazing. I'll do that. So I was not one of those kids who had a lifelong dream of being an attorney. It's literally something that I came to my senior year of college.
Right.
And went straight from college to Howard Law School.
Awesome. Well, it sounds like it's worked out very well for you.
It has. It was a good career choice.
Excellent. And why, well, tell me more about how you made the transition.
Yes.
That's what Bossed Up's all about, really, is career transitions, and how we can help women own their power, have confidence in their ability to sort of step up as the boss of their lives and their careers. How did you go from the big firm life, post-law school here in DC, to starting your own business, and what was that transition like?
Yeah. So right after law school, I actually clerked for 2 years. So I worked for a judge in DC for 2 years and then went to my big law firm. So I was there for probably about 6 years, which is a lot longer than a lot of people, especially people who in the back of their head know they don't want to make partner, will stay at a law firm. So I kind of stuck it out for quite a bit of time. But about halfway in, I knew I didn't want to do it. It wasn't for me. And I looked for work. Maybe I didn't look enough, but I definitely looked, but nothing stuck. Like there was no job that I came close to getting, and it just nothing worked. So I kind of was in this job that I knew I couldn't do forever, but wasn't really able to make the transition to anything else. And then 2013, I distinctly remember it was Super Bowl, the Monday after Super Bowl 2013. I come to work, and for some reason I had a sense of I was re-energized a little bit. Like I got to work, you have those weekends, you're like, I'm going to go to work and I'm going to kill it when I get there. So it was one of those Mondays. Like I got in a little early. I was excited. I'm like, okay, I'm going to just recommit. None of this job search seems to be working out. I'm going to recommit. I get in about 10:30. I get the, can you meet us in the conference room phone call? I'm like, oh, okay, that's what this is. So knew immediately what was about to happen. So, I walk in and I'm told, we gotta let you go. We like you, but this isn't it.
You had already been looking too, so the feeling was probably mutual.
It was, well, not only had I been looking, I was looking at other entrepreneurial endeavors. So I randomly had started looking at opening a State Farm agency. And so was going through the process, which is, I'm so glad it didn't work out. We'll talk more about that.
Yeah.
Was going through the process of opening a state farm and was working on it at work, which is like a sign that you need to leave. So I was kind of going through the process at State Farm. They had actually accepted me into their, if an opening comes up, we'll consider you kind of pool of people. So I knew that I needed to do something entrepreneurial. The State Farm thing seemed easy because it was a ready-made thing. Like, oh, it's already State Farm. I can walk in and I can do that. So I was already, every part of my body was already out of my job before they asked me to leave.
Out the door already. Mentally, you checked out. That's
Right.
interesting.
Yes. And so then I was laid off this February 2013. And I always tell people that was really kind of the best year of my life because I had money in the bank. I had my years of savings. I had a severance package from the job. And I had a good time that year. I visited friends I hadn't seen in a long time. I kind of just reconnected with life. I cleaned every room in my house. I was getting ready for something and I didn't know what. And I wasn't pressing the job search. I was like looking for jobs, doing this kind of State Farm thing, but just kind of enjoying the process and the progress. And that was really just like a very happy time for me.
I have to ask, so it sounds like that for sure. I feel like as type A women,
Yeah.
like super ambitious ladies at Bossed Up in particular, that's the kind of like sort of audience member that we tend to attract. I would find that kind of uncertainty hard to be patient with.
Mm-hmm.
It's easy to look back on it now and say like that was a blast. But did you ever feel that uncertainty and wavering of confidence and just not sure that you were on the right track? Did you ever feel like doubtful of your own abilities?
I felt like I had a bunch of backup plans. It was, I was trying the State Farm thing. I was interviewing for jobs. I knew I can go and do temporary kind of attorney contract work. So it was, I think because I had all that kind of things could pan out, it felt easier as opposed to just.
Security can't be underestimated here.
Right. Exactly. And so I think that's why I was able to kind of just sit back and say, you know what, I'm going to take this time and I don't have to get a job 2 weeks from the day I got let go. I can just take some time here.
Great. So what did you end up doing?
Yes. So the State Farm thing just did not work, which is crazy to me because I was, not to just be on my high horse, but I was kind of a perfect candidate. I got really excellent feedback from everybody I met. Like I felt like I did all the right things and it didn't work. And then I didn't want to do it anymore, which is how you know you really don't want to do something, that if you don't get it, you don't want to do it. Because if you really want to do it, you'll keep on the path.
Right.
Yeah. And so once kind of the opportunity I was seeking, the agency I wanted to open didn't come through, I said, well, I'm not doing that. I'll just figure something else out. So I started, more aggressively working with the recruiter to interview with law firms, like kind of other big law firms. And I distinctly remember every interview I went on about 2 or 3. It was a sense of, God, I hope these people don't hire me. And looking at bios and being like, I don't even like these people. Like, I don't want to work with any of these people. But feeling like it's what I had to do.
Right.
And I remember I started to toy in my mind, well, maybe I can just do my own work while I'm looking, kind of half do it. So I was working with a recruiter and she called me one day and we were talking about an interview, a job I didn't get, but they liked me and the interview went well and we talked about it. And midway through the interview, she starts talking about her strategy. And I'm like, you know what? Stop looking. I'm going to open my own practice and we're done here. And she was kind of shocked, like, what? And I was kind of shocked too, because it was the first time I said it out loud, kind of affirmatively, like, this is what I am doing. I'm not going to halfway do it. I'm completely doing it. Yeah.
I'm on. A lot happens at Bossed Up Boot Camp, our training program for women navigating career transition. The very first big crazy exercise that we put people in is a visioning exercise that enables them to first talk it out, then think it out and write it out. So we sort of get to the talking part first and just play it loose and fast.
Yeah.
So many people, in fact, I was just interviewing a boss for our Fierce Friday series, a recent graduate of Bossed Up Boot Camp that we just had. So many people get this vision vertigo. They're like, whoa, what just came out of my mouth? Like,
right.
I have this underlying desire. I've intimidated myself because I didn't even know I really wanted that. And once you say it, you're like, can I be this fierce? That sort of intense emotion that follows with it. And then, of course, we help them process that through and end with like a roadmap to actually achieve.
Yeah. It was one of those crazy moments. Like I just kind of affirmatively said it. And what's crazy is, so I said it and I knew that I always wanted to work with entrepreneurs because there's a journal. I don't journal all the time. I should do it more. But I had a journal from law school where I wrote, I will open a law practice and work with small business owners. Like randomly, like just wrote it, never put any energy or anything behind it. And then, 10 years later, you look up and you're doing the thing that you kind of put out there.
Funny, I have a paper from my senior year of high school that I talked about like women's gender roles and how we feel pulled in many different directions.
Right.
Like a little high school senior writing about women and overwhelm. And my professor at the time wrote on the paper, hold on to this paper for years to come. I want to reference this again. I was like, whoa, when I read that again after launching Bossed Up, I was like, dang.
Isn't it amazing the things we kind of just create in the universe? So, yeah.
Well, that's amazing. So you've been in your own practice now for 2.5 years. Or so.
2.5 years. So I was let go from my firm in February 2013. I launched my practice January 2014.
And I've really enjoyed working with you because
Thank you.
One of the beautiful lessons I've learned from being my own boss, and not just of my own life, but of my company, is that I work with people who I can relate to, who I get, who I feel like are straight shooters, and I got that good feeling in my gut whenever we sat down. Is that something that sort of guides your way of doing business, or what kind of clients do you like working with the best? And which ones have you seen be successful, maybe, and why? For those of us considering entrepreneurship or attorney and stuff.
Yeah, so I really feel honored to service the clients I serve. A lot of my clients are women. They're women who look like me, and that's a true honor. I think I do follow my gut a lot. Sometimes there are times when I should have said no to someone and I didn't, and I knew I should have. And there are times when I know it's just not a good fit. And I think the people I like to work with, I hate to use the term visionary because I feel like it's overused, but they do have a little sense of like, they're not there to get a check. Like they aren't in it because they want to be rich. They're in it because there's something they want to create or something they want to bring to the universe. And those are the people I really enjoy working with because I get energy from that kind of their vision.
And so what have been the biggest lessons you've learned along the way of having your own practice?
I would say the biggest surprise to me in being a business owner is how lonely it is. And I live alone and I was working from home for a period of time. And I could go days without seeing someone. You and I, we talk on the phone. We don't meet a lot in person. We email. I mean, most of my clients are that way. They're busy. No one wants to come and have a meeting in a conference room. So it's a lonely journey. And especially when not all of your friends are doing the same thing. A lot of your family members aren't doing the same things. I think that surprised me the most. But I figured out ways to combat it. Like I try to connect to other people as much as possible. Other friends who have small law firms, other business owners, whether it's just meeting for coffee or lunch, just to get other people's energy. So I think one lesson I'd have is kind of get your tribe together. If you're doing this, especially if you don't have co-founders that you're working with, make sure you're connected with other people because you can kind of go down a rabbit hole.
Totally. I feel like community is key. Any human leader too feels pretty lonely at times.
Yeah.
And no one cares about your problems because it seems like such privileged problems to have, and in many ways they are. But that you need somebody who knows what you're going through.
Exactly.
And I used to think of those kinds of relationships as being a luxury, like spending time with my friends or quality time with my loved ones was like an indulgence. But no, it's absolutely part of how you stay sane and satisfied and sustainable at work and in life over the long term. That's great.
Absolutely. And I'd say another lesson is knowing your own limits. I think we get like Superman or Superwoman syndrome and you think that you can do everything. So just, delegating out and not trying to do it all yourself. Like there are other people designed to do certain things and let those people do those things.
Yeah, and knowing your strengths, right?
Yes.
What you do best. And then also knowing your weaknesses and bringing people in that are better than you. That's great.
Yeah. And I know sometimes I have to say no to a client. There's someone who called me yesterday with a great idea and it just was not completely in my wheelhouse. And I could have figured it out. But I knew they would have been better served with someone else. So I have to, my limit is here. This person is better for you.
That's great. Now, for the attorneys in the audience,
Yes.
what have been the pros and the cons of sort of branching out on your own? I think that attorneys, I can say this because my dad's an attorney.
Yes.
Attorneys have a bad rap when it comes to being business owners. So what have you found the benefits were of being part of a big firm versus having your own firm, and who would thrive in which kind of environments, I suppose?
So the big firm is obviously the check. Sometimes I say to myself, if I could do this and they can just still send me that same check, I would be so happy. So obviously the money and the support, my old secretary at my firm, we're still friends. And I text her the other day, like I had to watch a YouTube video to figure out how to do a certified mailing because I never had to do that because she would just kind of handle that. So I think, doing every aspect of the business is what's so different. The marketing, the speaking, the admin to some extent, or knowing what to delegate to an admin. And I think your question is who would thrive in the
like what made you want to leave that comfort zone of the big firm and the big check, and like what kind of person is the kind of person who will thrive more so opening their own firm?
I think someone who's comfortable with uncertainty, because it's the business of law is interesting because it's a business, but you still have all these legal ethics that you have to comply with. And a lot of times business and ethics don't always mix. And the things that you can do to make money aren't always what are the things that are going to help you keep your license.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding.
So I think just the mix of that is sometimes difficult, but someone who's comfortable with uncertainty, comfortable getting out of their comfort zone and talking to people, comfortable asking questions, comfortable. It's interesting. So I kind of got a reputation at my firm of being very much an introvert, and I am, of not speaking. It was a lot of my reviews would say, oh, she's good, but she should speak up more. Or she doesn't, she's not assertive or aggressive enough. And so when I got on my own, I realized that I am not necessarily that person. I'm very good at kind of being aggressive and talking to people and initiating, because if I don't eat. So there was this narrative that I created in my head of, well, maybe I wouldn't be good at marketing. And then I started to do it. And I was like, no, I actually think that this is a skill, like one of my strengths.
Right. And like any skill, it's something that can be learned, and
exactly.
Nobody's born assertive or aggressive, right? It's a skill you're trained to own or not. And it's a huge part of all the training that I do with corporations and universities, and even after boot camp, is understanding what it means to be an assertive communicator.
Yes.
How essential that is to leadership, and how we as women in particular have been socially conditioned our entire lives to not be assertive. Right. And it leaves us in this troubling double bind that we're trying to tap dance on this tightrope and make everybody happy all the time.
Right.
Which we all know is no fun at all. That's wonderful. So I just want to wrap up with one or two last questions here.
Okay.
You've been doing a ton of speaking, which I think is amazing. You talk a lot with audiences of entrepreneurs, especially women and women of color or communities of color. What do you feel are some of the biggest lessons? And maybe I hear you've got an ebook coming out soon.
I do.
Can you tell us a little bit more about how we can learn more from you, how we can work more with you, and what are the kinds of signature things that you love to teach others and share with others?
So I will start kind of with, so I did a presentation recently, and I kind of distilled my ways to kind of keep your business protected into four categories. Make it official, put it in writing, don't protect your own ideas, and don't steal other people's ideas. Are kind of like the things that I know will keep your business together. So keep it official, I'm surprised how many people I meet who tell me they have a business or a corporation, but they don't really have a corporation. They don't have something registered with the state, and they don't treat it like a business. So, make it official, get it in writing, make sure you have contracts where necessary, get the things that are going to protect your intellectual property, and make sure you don't take other people's, is some of the advice that, that I give out when I speak. In terms of the ebook you mentioned, I do have an ebook. I think for a lot of small business owners, working with an attorney, it could be a little daunting because one, people think that they're expensive. They think that, maybe they don't need it. They can figure it out on their own. Or they just think that it's not a cost that they want to incur. And to kind of reach that head on, I have an ebook, Working with an Attorney for Your Small Business. And it just goes over, how do you find an attorney? What should I be looking for? What kind of questions do I ask them? Because you should interview. I know when you and I met, you were seeing lots of people. You had lots of questions for me. So it's not a purchase you should just make like any other purchase. And then what do you need them for? I think a lot of people don't know, like, well, where would this benefit my business? And so just kind of budgeting for an attorney, how much this costs. So the book really goes into all of that, so people can kind of feel a level of comfort when they're making that choice.
And I can speak from experience. It can be
Yeah.
really embarrassing. Like, tell me what I don't know. Like, I don't know what I don't know. And that's
Right.
scary. And that's why I think interviewing the right attorney and finding someone who not only works in the way that you like to work, but also you trust and fundamentally agree with their values.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think that value thing is really key, and it's something sometimes people overlook, and then you end up with a bad fit.
Right, because there's no perfect person out there to work with. There's
Right.
a perfect person for you. And the more I've been in business, the more I realize, like, there's lots of great accountants. There's lots of great attorneys.
Yes.
There's great event coordinators. I want the event coordinator or the attorney that believes in the mission that I believe in. And
Right.
that makes it a good team.
Yes. Excellent. So if people want the book, if people email me, my email address is they should email me at Shavon at thesjslawfirm.com. So it's SHAVON at thesjslawfirm.com. I'm happy to send off a copy of the book. If people want to email me and they have questions, I'm happy to kind of help to the extent that I can as well.
And for folks who didn't already get it, the website where you can read more about Shavon and her work and get in touch with her is thesjslawfirm.com. You can also tweet at the SJS Law Firm, which we have done earlier today, and we'll continue to do this afternoon. And if you're watching this replay, it's not too late to continue this conversation with us on Twitter. We are so glad to have you on today, Shavon. Thank you so much for sharing.
Thank you.
Honestly, that's what Career Crush is all about. It's the behind-the-scenes, real, raw reality behind how people get to where they are today. And your candid, sharing makes all of us stronger and more courageous. So thank you so much for
thank you so much for having me and opening me up to your audience. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. And for those of you who are considering a career change, do not delay. Our spots are actually filling up really quickly for our upcoming Bossed Up Boot Camp happening this spring in Washington, D.C., this summer in New York City and D.C., and this fall, we're going to be in D.C. and up in Boston. So get those applications in now. It's a life-changing weekend-long retreat for women navigating career transition or even considering upping their leadership game and really stepping up as the boss of their life. Lots more exciting stuff to come, including today's announcement around our first ever Bossed Up retreat in Costa Rica for the summer, which you can find out more about right now at bossedup.com. Thank you so much, Shavon. We will be in touch real soon, and have an amazing day, y'all. Keep
Thank you.